Hello, hello, hello. It is Cassandra Terry, your manifesting miracle maker, and it is Transformation Tuesday. Welcome back. I was off all last week working. So today is my first day back. Yesterday was just trying to get going again and get back into my regular routine. So I was not able to get going yesterday like I originally planned. So today is our first day back together after almost a week. So come on in, come on in. Let's get this day started and let's get it started right. So, Transformation Tuesday is a day where we focus on change and not just change for the sake of change, but focused, clear change that's driving towards a goal, driving towards something that you'd clearly like to accomplish. And so it begins with that. Change is happening all the time. We're making decisions all the time. But until we key in on what it is that we really desire, then we miss that opportunity to control that change and to be a part of making the change and making sure it's something that we're driving ourselves in the direction that we really would like to go. There's a quote by Maya Angelou that I have for you guys today, and I want to make sure I get it right. So let me pull it up. And you're going to see me kind of all this whole time because I've got my Instagram audience over here. I have LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube right in front of me, and then I have TikTok to my right. So I'm going to do my best to connect with everyone, but I am spanning the room because of I've got three setups here. So let's start with the quote from Maya Angelou about transformation. It says, "We delight in the beauty of the butterfly, but rarely admit the changes it has gone through to achieve that beauty." So I talk about this fairly often, is that we often see the end result. We see what people have accomplished. We don't see the blood, sweat, and tears, the hard work that they've gone through. Thank you so much for the gift. I see you there on TikTok. Malcolm, I think, no, it's Marcia or Marcia. You'll have to tell me how to pronounce your name, but thank you for the rose. So I really want us to think about when we admire what someone else has accomplished, when we admire their what seems like their overnight success. Good morning, Shay. Good morning, Cliff. Glad to have you guys back. We have to realize that typically we're only seeing the results of a lot of hard work, a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of sacrifice. And we in social media, we definitely typically don't see the work. We see, even if we're looking at somebody, we're looking at their setup. We're looking at how things are pulled together for a particular visual. We don't see everything that's going. You can't see what's happening outside this frame, right? There's a window to my left. There's a closet to my right. There's a sofa in front of me. You can kind of see a TV that I never used behind me, but you only get a glimpse. And there's this whole world that's happening outside of this frame. And our lives are no different. And if you think about someone's accomplishments as you just getting a glimpse in to what's really happening, then you can take a step back and go, I wonder what that really took. And that's what you want to realize for yourself is you get frustrated, you get overwhelmed because you've got this big goal that you want to accomplish. But if you start to make the right choices right now, if you start to make the right choices today, one small choice at a time, one little step at a time, it will lead you to the path that you would like to get to. It'll lead you to what it is that you want to accomplish. Here's a good example of not doing that very well. For those of you who are with me on a regular basis, y'all know I'm here Monday through Friday. Last week, I didn't have that option because I was traveling. I had to go out of town for work. The first day, I left on Sunday and I got back in town Friday evening. Monday morning, I got up. I was still, gung ho in my regular workout mode because I work out for about an hour before my lives, which is why I typically look a hot mess when y'all see me. So I work out for an hour and then I come home, grab a glass of water, and then, jump on the lives. And after this, I go shower and get ready for my work day. Well, that routine was completely blown up last week. I wasn't near my gym. I didn't have my regular, food. We try to get in a couple of protein shakes a day. There's a routine and there's some beauty in routine. And when your routine is broken, that's when you get to see. That's when I got to see just how good my discipline was or was not. So Monday morning, I got up like I always do. I went to the gym in the hotel and I made some good food choices all day long. As soon as I get into the conference room where we're working that week, there is slices of cake and there's cupcakes and there's just all these sweets and there's lots of free drinks, mostly the ones that I don't need, sodas and sweet stuff. And so that stuff's all around me at no choice, no charge. Monday I did great. I had my water. I ignored the sweets. I did my workout. And I think because I got up Monday morning and I worked out, it set the tone for the rest of my day. So I was still in the right mindset to keep the transformation going, to keep moving towards my goals. Well, we worked a very long day Monday. And then we had dinner Monday night. And none of what I was doing on this trip was truly my day job. So when I got back to my room, I don't know, 10:30 that night, I still needed to check my emails and kind of keep up with what was going on in the regular job, what I do all day, every day when I'm not traveling. And so it made for a long night. So the next morning I slept in a little bit. Didn't I went and had a good breakfast and lots of fruit and stuff, but I didn't work out. So my routine's already starting to pare away. I did okay because I had a good breakfast. I still kind of had fitness in my mind and was making decent choices. I was even taking pictures of my food and sending it to my husband for accountability. That day went on forever. And then we had plans for an early morning breakfast at 7 a.m. Now it's Wednesday. I haven't worked out since Monday. I'm trying to hold on to the food choices, but I'm getting weaker and weaker as the week goes because I'm not in my regular environment. And each day I'm kind of peeling back away from the routine that I have set for myself. So by Wednesday, we're in that room all day long, yak, yak, yak for 7.5, 8, sometimes 9 hours a day. And I'm exhausted. I grab a soda. It was downhill from there because once I had the first one, the third one, the fourth one, the fifth one, who knows how many, but by the time I got on the plane and got home, it just opened up the door for more bad choices. And I got to the gym this morning. I weigh in on Mondays. Last week when I weighed in, I had lost 3 pounds in that week. I was excited. I was like, all right, I'm well on my way. We've got a trip coming up to Jamaica in June. By the time June comes around, I'll be ready for for to hit the beach. Today, I was not excited about stepping on that scale because I knew what last week had been. Started out great, but I had peeled back. And then when I got home, I had a house full of family because my nephew graduated from college. And so we were celebrating, excited about him, lots of food and celebration and all that. And I got in today, stepped on the scale, put right back on the 3 pounds that I had lost. Bummer. I didn't beat myself up. I tried to prepare myself for it. I was telling myself, you made some bad choices. So if you just held steady, that'd be great. That would be a win. But there's a good chance that you put back on what you lost. And that's exactly what I did. So I'm right back at day one all over again. And that was frustrating. But I used that to drive my workout and to prepare myself for the rest of this week and to keep going. And I say all that to say our morning routines, whatever routines we set for ourselves, are so important. We're reading a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. And he talks about how important it is to, when you get up in the morning, just to make your bed. Make your bed. When you're brushing your teeth, if there's a new habit that you want to form while you're brushing your teeth, do it. So my husband, while he's brushing his teeth in the morning, he does squats. because he's working on the lower body. And so he's like, it's a perfect time for me to do it and to build it into my daily routine. Our routines can really propel us forward, and breaking our routines can push the brakes on the transformation that we're trying to accomplish. So I'm transparent here. I'll tell y'all when I'm winning, and I'll tell y'all when I'm sliding backwards. And last week was definitely a slide backwards, but not too bad. Not too bad. It was just one of those moments. And I hope when you all have moments like that, that you give yourself some grace, and you look at it as a learning opportunity. It's like, all right, I know next trip I have got to be more diligent, and I've got to make sure that I build in, even if it's just a little bit of something right before I go to bed. I've got to build in a little bit of exercise to keep myself focused and to stay on the journey, because everybody else in the room, they're on different journeys, and no one's thinking about, well, Cassandra's trying to eat right, so we need to make sure we keep the sweets away from her. No, that's my responsibility. So I have to be accountable to me, and I love that I can be accountable to you guys. So Maya Angelou said, we delight in the beauty of the butterfly, but rarely admit the changes it has gone through to achieve that beauty. I remember being in Jamaica once before, and I saw this girl. She's a very similar frame as mine, much younger, and she looked so good. And I remember telling her, "Oh my gosh, looking at you makes me want to run to the gym right now." And you know what she said? She said, "I so appreciate you saying that, because I do work out. I work hard to maintain my body." And most people just say, "Oh, you're lucky, you're young, you don't gain weight." What they, undermine the work or never acknowledge the work that she does. And so she was excited just to have somebody tie working to how she looks. And that's what I think Maya Angelou means, is delighting in the beauty of the butterfly. We see those beautiful wings. We see how graceful it flies. We know that when it's coming, it won't be long before we'll start seeing beautiful flowers. And we think about all the beauty, but we don't think about the cocoon. We don't think about the fact that that thing was this little squirmy, not so pretty looking thing, all wrapped up, and it had to live in that darkness. It had to mature, it had to get bigger and go through a metamorphosis. It had to truly transform and break out of that dark, tight space to become the butterfly that we see. So it's okay to admire the beauty of the butterfly. It's okay to want to be a butterfly. But in order to be that butterfly, whatever that means for your life, you have to realize that there's a transformation that has to take place. There's work that has to be done. Sometimes it's going to be dark, and you have to work really hard to find the light. Sometimes you're going to be in really tight spaces, and you have to work really hard to be able to expand your wings and get out of that space and move forward. We're all like the butterfly. Sometimes our lives are cocoons, and sometimes our lives are open and free, and we're soaring. But it's all a part of this thing called life that we have all been blessed with. So when you're in the cocoon, your mindset is so important. That's when you have to remember that things are happening. It's hard to see right now. It's hard to feel like there's something on the other side, but I'm learning, I'm growing, something's happening. And if I just stay and do the work that I have to do in this stage of life, then I can count on the next stage happening. But if all I do is nothing, if all I do is complain about the dark, if all I do is complain about the tight spaces, I'm likely to be stuck there and have more darkness and more tight spaces. But if I realize that I'm transforming, that there's something that I need to learn and do in this space, as you're learning, you're growing. As you're growing, the transformation is happening, no matter how small it is. And before you know it, the space that you're in really is too small. And because of the growth that you have, you start to spread your wings, you start to stretch, and you burst out of that space. And that's what we typically see. We see the person that has burst out of that cocoon, and we admire them, and we wonder how we can have that same life. You have that same life by doing what's necessary when you're in the cocoon. And that starts by figuring out, what does it look like to be the butterfly? What does that mean for me? You have to get really clear about what you want out of your life. What do you want? What is it that you want to accomplish? And you figure that out in the cocoon. While you're tight, while you're dark, you start to figure things out. What's important to me? What do I want to see unfold? What's the next stage of life for me? And then once you figure that out, then you've got to do something about it. And that's where a lot of us fall short. It's okay for me to want to get the beach body, but if I do what I did last week, it's not going to happen. It's just not. I can't wish my way into it. I am not going to manifest the beautiful body eating pizza. I'm just not. And so you've got to get clear about what it is you want. And whatever that is, your why has to be bigger than any excuse that you can come up with. I last night I hosted yesterday at 6 Central. Me and this guy from the UK, Any, we co-hosted a room on LinkedIn, an audio room, and I really like those rooms because you can't see me, which is okay. And unlike these rooms, you guys are able to talk back. And so such inspirational things were coming out of the rooms. One of the guys got on there and he talked about your why. And if you start to think about what it is that you're doing, just because you want to accomplish something, maybe you'll get there, maybe you won't. But if you're saying, even my health, if I'm looking at weight loss and I've got it tied to this trip, I'll probably put it back on as soon as the trip is over because I've accomplished a particular goal and I haven't, and my why is really, really on the surface. But if I'm talking about my health, if I'm talking about wanting to be able to, for me and my husband to travel and enjoy life in our retirement, if I'm talking about wanting to be able to be there for my grandkids and able to travel to their games and run around and play with them and enjoy life, that's a deeper why. That if I was thinking about that, that may have motivated me more last week and helped me to stay on track even when I was outside of my normal cocoon. And so really, really think about first what you want and get real clear about that. It has to be important to you. It has to be relevant to you. Transformation for the sake of transformation, change for the sake of change. I mean, it's going to happen whether we're driving it or not. So you may as well get real clear about what it is you want in the first place and start to take the reins and have some control in your life because you absolutely can. Often we feel so victimized by life. We get up, we go through the motions, we do the same thing over and over again, and we're just reacting to whatever's thrown our way. That's one way to live. And I think that's the way most of us live most of the time. But when you click in to you, and you get really clear about what you want and you commit to doing the things that you want, that you need to do in order to have it, then you're not reacting, you're responding, you're creating and generating the energy and the path necessary for your success. But first you've got to get clear. What is it I want? I want this. Okay, what is it going to take for me to get there? Because this is the big goal. Now we've stepped that thing back all the way to today. Whatever it is I want, what can I do today? What are the first steps that I can take to start moving me towards this thing? And that's how you live every day, thinking every time something comes up, your decisions get easier when you've got a goal in mind. Is this thing going to push me closer or farther away from what I'm trying to accomplish? You ask yourself that throughout the day, every day, so that you can continue to propel yourself towards your goals. Shay says it was amazing. I can't wait for the next audio room you all will host. We'll be hosting every other Monday on LinkedIn, and it's called, it's really around the voice within wins. It's all about taming your inner voice and getting hold of that thing, hearing it, connecting to it, and then getting hold of it and doing the work that you need to do to get it in control so that you're advocating for yourself instead of holding yourself back. All of these things that I talk about are always going to be around those same topics because I believe that's where it all begins. Transformation begins in the mind. Once you've decided and received clarity about what it is that you really want, After that, you've got the first hurdle behind you. I know what it is I want. Now the question is, what are you willing to do to get it? And then you make those decisions. You decide what you're willing to do to get it. And then sorry about that, you guys on my phone. You're probably losing me for a minute because my sister's trying to call. Mother, tell Tori to stop calling me. She knows I'm on my lives right now. So once you've determined what it is that you're willing to do to get it, the next question is one that we don't always think about. What are you willing to give up to get it? What are you willing to give up? That's the next thing. That is the next question. I don't know. I see myself flashing, so I may have lost you guys on TikTok. I'm sorry. I had a call come in. So once good morning. I see Speak Up Sis magazine. Oh my gosh, we've been out of touch for so long. We need to get on the phone and have a good conversation and get reconnected. And I know it's my fault. I know it's my fault. So the next thing that after you've decided what you want and you've determined what it is that you're willing to do to get it, now you have to ask yourself, what am I willing to give up? That's where I think we fall into, that's the trap I think we fall into a lot, because we're not thinking about giving up something. What's the sacrifice? What sacrifice am I willing to make in order to have the life that I really want? That is so important, because those are the things that are going to pop up, grab your attention, and before you know it, it's led you down a path completely away from your goals. So you have to get completely clear on your commitments and clear on the opportunity cost. The opportunity cost is what you're giving up in order to have this thing. So if I'm going to write a book, I have to carve out time every day to write, or at least some frequency. I have to commit to a schedule. While I'm writing, that means I'm not with my family. That means I'm not on social media. That means I'm not going out with my friends. Those are things that I'm giving up. Those are sacrifices, temporary sacrifices that I'm making to commit to the schedule that I have in order to accomplish a goal. If we don't think about that part, we really do make ourselves, we weaken the possibility of accomplishing our goals, because those things are things that we enjoy. They're things that we like to do. And when they pop up, they will completely take our attention. So that's the challenge. Get clear about what it is that you want. Don't talk about change or transformation for the sake of change or transformation. What do you want to transform into? If you're in the cocoon right now, what is your butterfly experience? Get really, really clear about that. And then understand, in order to come out of that cocoon, there's going to be some discomfort. There's going to be some darkness. There's going to be some tight spaces. And that's where your transformation begins. Working through those, getting clear about what you're willing to do, being clear about what you're giving up for the short term, at least until you get to that goal. I'm not saying you're never going to talk to your family, you're never going to go out with your friends, but that hour and a half, whatever time that you set aside for your writing time, if you're writing a book, you've got to commit to that. So what you're saying is, I'm not doing anything else during that time but that. That's what commitment means. Commitment means yes to one thing and no to everything else during that time. And we have to get really, really clear about that. Making those types of choices will increase your chances exponentially of achieving the goals that you set out for yourself, or actually fulfilling and making that transformation. We all have the power to do it, but we have to get clear about what it is and why we want it. Your why has to outweigh your excuses. So I'm going to leave you guys with Maya Angelou once again, because she's Maya Angelou. You know, I don't know if there's ever been anyone whose her writing will live on for centuries beyond her. But this one was really relevant for today. We delight in the beauty of the butterfly, but rarely admit the changes it has gone through to achieve that beauty. And for me, I don't think it's so much an admission of the changes. I think we just don't clue in. We look at that finished product and we don't even think about what it took to get there. For us, it seemed like it just happened overnight. It seems like it was just, this person was lucky. Things always go well for them. You don't see the sleepless nights when they stayed up studying. I've got a daughter who's a doctor, and I marveled at her as a teenager. Destiny's Child was huge back then, and they were having their final concert in Houston, and we were getting tickets to take the girls to see it, and she said no, she couldn't go because she had homework. She had stuff that she had to get done. She was that driven as a young person. So all the stuff that she's accomplished now is no surprise to me because I did see the Cocoon. I saw the work that she did to get to be called Dr. Thompson. She worked really hard, and the opportunity cost was the biggest thing. How many teenagers would give up the opportunity to go and see, Destiny's Child back then if you were a fan? And she did. And she made many, many decisions like that. A lot of weekends when the other girls were having a good time, she would opt to stay in. She missed a lot of events because she was laser focused on her goal. Aditya, oh my goodness, I've invited you to a few things. It is so exciting to see you here. Aditya is in Singapore, and we've worked together for years. And so, welcome, welcome, welcome. I see quite a few of you guys. Ryan, thanks for joining. Shay, is it Amelie or is it Amelia? Oh, she's listening from London, UK. So, guys, we have been international for a while now, and it still blows my mind. It's so exciting when I see people joining from around the world. I see hi from Russia on TikTok. Hello. Thank you all for joining. So I will wrap up. We will be back tomorrow at the same time. Ileana says she has learned from her mama. I've learned a lot from them too. My girls have taught me a lot. And we have to realize that as parents, it's a two-way street. Watching our kids, we learn a lot about ourselves, and we learn so much if we can sometimes just step back and see how they're navigating life. So I appreciate that compliment though, Ileana. All right, so we'll wrap up. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, 7:15 Central. Tomorrow's Wednesday. So tomorrow will be Wake Up Wednesday, where we will talk about being intentional. Yes, Sonia, we are all learning together. So today was the first day that I'm actually able to see the folks on TikTok because my husband bought me a new tablet for my birthday last week. And so we're on all the social media for the most part right now. I was able to get 3 devices going, and I didn't know how that was going to go. I probably look crazy to all of you at one point or another because I'm looking at different screens. But I am so excited to be here and to be able to share. And I thank you all for joining and for all of your comments as we've gone through. We'll be back tomorrow, 7:15 Central, for Wake Up Wednesday, where we will talk about being intentional. Take my Angelou's words with you. We delight in the beauty of the butterfly, but rarely admit the changes it has gone through to achieve that beauty. If you look at your own life right now, you may not be where you want to be, but I guarantee you're not where you were. You've made some changes. See the beauty in that. Recognize the work that you've already done and applaud yourself for getting this far. We have to keep ourselves encouraged, and sometimes the only person to encourage you is you. I'm here every day, Monday through Friday, to at least try, but be able to encourage yourself. Recognize the accomplishments that you've had already and allow that to fuel you and encourage you to do the same, to keep moving forward, because there's no failure in life as long as you're learning. We either win or we learn. The only time we fail is when we throw both of those out the door. We quit and we learn nothing from the situation. That's the only form of failure that I recognize. Otherwise, when things don't go right, it's an opportunity for us to learn and adjust. So just realize that, keep yourself encouraged, and we'll be back here tomorrow at 7:15 Central to talk about being intentional and how having that laser focus can propel you towards the life that you desire. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you back here tomorrow. Thank you.